So now let's talk about word problems. A lot of teachers do not teach word problem skills and problem solving directly. And again, in our post-COVID era, a lot of our students were never taught how to tackle these kinds of problems on their own. So I'm going to show you how I teach word problem strategies in general. I follow the tactics taught in Prime Math plus some of my own. Prime Math really emphasizes bar diagrams, and I find this to take something super abstract and make it concrete. With word problems, very important. A lot of math teachers, again, are really good at math and they can do the math in their head. We need to make this concrete for our students, and I really like that bar diagrams do that without us having to add in algebra. I try to avoid algebra in word problems unless that's specifically what I'm teaching. That's my personal preference. You do you. So the first step when I do word problems is I eliminate all unnecessary information. So this one doesn't really have any extra information. I forgot to kind of add it in. But sometimes in word problems, you'll see like, my two dogs my two dogs named Billy and Sam are blah, 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 blah. It'll describe the dogs a little bit. Or it'll say they eat like vegetable-based kibble or something like that. And so we get rid of all of that information because it's just distracting us from our goal of solving this math problem. So that's my first step. My second step is I like to pull out all of the numbers because this text, especially if I have dysgraphia, dyslexia, is too much. And again, cannot emphasize enough with dysgraphia, centimeter paper is a jam. It is so game changing. So I am going to pull out, I have two dogs, 16.4 kilos for both. Very important that we put units, what these numbers mean. We're not just pulling them out. Younger, 2.3 kilos, and I'm assuming 4 weeks per month. Now I'm just writing out this shorthand because my whiteboard is a little unstable, especially when working with students who are struggling math. It's very important that we write all of this stuff out because this can look like algebra and confuse us with units, so we really need to make sure we're catering to that. Once I have identified all the numbers, I now identify the question. So my question, what I'm looking for is how much on average does my older dog eat? And I usually put that older. Now I look for keywords, and I'm going to add in my song about keywords to this slide. So it goes like this. Addition is sum plus in all, total altogether, combine, join, and add together. Subtraction is decrease, less than difference, separate, minus, and of course subtracted. Multiplication times doubled, and product, division, split, divided, quotient, and broken. So now that I know that, I'm looking for my keywords together, and some of my students here would definitely point out that average is a keyword, and so I would circle it too, but I'd say they're actually already giving us the average. We're looking for an average, so I don't really need to do anything with those. So the together is really my keyword, is I'm going to turn this into a bar diagram, and I'm going to like kind of take these apart. So I'm going to start with 4 weeks in 1 month, and sometimes we need to draw bar diagrams differently so that kids get it, but this is in general where I would start, and I say you can plug and chug, you can figure it out until you have your bar diagram correct. So here I have my 4 weeks, my 4 units in 1 total month, and I'm gonna erase these numbers as I use them. I have my students do that with their pens and pencils, whatever, and I say this whole thing right here, I know is 16.4 kilograms, but it's for both. So I'm going to need to draw another 4 weeks. All of this, all together is going to be 16.4 kilos. And I have 2 dogs. My 2 dogs are addressed here. So this whole thing is 16.4. So now I'm going to label these older, which I know is my question mark, and my younger. And now I'm going to review. This whole thing equals a month. Each of these squares equals a week because I know that there are 4 weeks in 1 month, as it says in my question, but I also know that. I also use things like I'm guesstimating that my younger dog eats less than my older dog, but we don't know that for sure, but that's something I'm keeping in my mind. So my older dog, this is my question mark. I'm looking for, assuming 4 weeks, I should have put how much does my older dog eat in 1 week. My apologies. How much does my older dog eat in 1 week? So I'm not looking for the month, I'm looking for the week. If I was doing this with my students and the question was like that, I'd be like, well, we don't know if we're looking for a month or week, so we're going to give both. But I do know that my younger dog eats 2.3 kilos in 1 week. And because this is an average, I'm going to know that each of these blocks is equal because it's an average. So this is 2.3, this is 2.3, this is 2.3, this is 2.3. So now I can add this all together to get what amount of this total is going to my younger dog. So I'm going to, you can multiply or add. I'm going to review multiplication. So I'm going to say 2.3 times 4. Sometimes when I'm teaching this, I'm like, oh, I have 4 that way, so it's easier to add together. I'm just going to review multiplication. 4 times 3, multiply the ones. Write it down, carry it up. Then we move it on over. Then we multiply the tens. Add, write it down, and stop. We count 1, 1. So 9.2. So I know my younger dog, this whole thing here, and I go back to my bar diagram, is 9.2. So really use the bar diagrams. If we add an algebra at this stage, I feel like it's way too hard for students. So now I go together. So this plus this, 9.2 together, plus my question, or actually plus 4 times my question mark, which I could do, plus x equals 16.4. Now I'm adding an algebra, and I would tell my class, like, this whole thing is x, because I want the whole. I don't just want what I'm finding here at the end. And I really try to keep those variables separate so that they know what we're looking for. So now I have to cross over the mysterious barrier of the equal sign. I have to subtract. So 16.4 minus 9.2 equals, and then I have to borrow. So, and again, for my students who have dysgraphia, counting up is not bad. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 7. And I say, I'm not done yet. I've got to bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. So now I know that my younger one is eating 9.2 kilos of food per month. And my older one, this X, is going to be 7.2. And I can check this back by plugging it in and making sure that 7.2 plus 9.2 is equal to 16.4. And I'd say we've got to line it up at the decimal. 2 plus 2 is 4. 9 plus 7 is 16. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. So this is equal to this. We're good to go. But I'm not done yet because I have 7.2, and now I need to not find the whole thing. I'm finding in 1 week average. So that's my question mark. So if I know my total is 7.2, I need to divide it into 4 squares. So 7.2 divided by 4. And the kids will be like, where did the 4 come? There are 4 squares, and sometimes the decimal freaks them out. So I'd say, okay, if I had 8, here's my total, and I want to find out that question mark. Oh, it's pretty easy to see. It could go 2, 4, 6, 8. But I'm looking for 7.2 here. So let's not be scared by the 7.2. Does the divisor fit in the dividends? First number, put it up top then. So 4 goes into 7 one time, multiply, then we subtract in, next number down, and start again. Does the divisor fit in the dividends? Second number, so 4 goes into 32. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. 8 times. 4 times 8 is 32. 0. So I know my answer is 1.8. And I could do this again I could check my answer by multiplying 4 times 1.8. And so my answer here is 1.8.